And that is a conversation that we are going to be having at the SABC. Of course, we'll look at the impact of, gender-based violence and the impact that it has on the survivors. Now, you would have seen in the last 2 days at the summit, the survivors talking about how they're seeing this distance between the money that is being, promised by government, the commitments that are being made in the fight against gender-based violence. But they say that for them, these particular figures do not find their way into the organizations that they are then leading. They talk about how for them, they want to see tangible action on the ground. You would have heard on SABC, of course, as some of the reporters were interviewing some of the activists. They talk about the difficulties and they say for them, they would like to see these commitments materialize to really action on the ground to end gender-based violence, but at the same time, to understand what they are going through. So quite a lot came out from those conversations as we were listening to over the course of the 2 days, government making commitments, the gender-based violence activists coming out to make their own commitments and calling on the private sector as well to get involved in this particular fight against gender-based violence. So there's quite a lot that came out. You think about some of the vulnerable groups, people living with albinism, some of them who are also at risk. So let's talk about then, what does it do to the survivor? Let's speak to Enhle Ngubeni and GBV activist Mrs. SA First Princess 2022, Roxy Van Bruwaene, who's joining us virtually, but Enhle is with us in studio. Enhle, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's start. I know that where I'm taking you right now is a difficult place for you to go.
Yes.
But if you don't mind, please share with us and the viewers what happened.
It was in March. I used to be a runner because I used to run for health reasons, purely because I'm coming from a family where there is high blood pressure, diabetes, and all those other things. So I decided that let me rather have a healthy lifestyle. Let me jog, because even my husband is a runner. So I was running that particular day. It was about 6:10 and it wasn't very dark. My usual route is down Vetkopen, and then I go down and I turn left towards Douglasdale Police Station, and then I come down all the way in Kingfisher. Those who are familiar with that area will know, around 4 ways. On that particular day, I was just running, minding my own business. I don't know where those guys came from, but all of a sudden I found myself on the floor. They tripped me, and then I fell, and then everything went blank. I tried to fight. I tried to push them, but it was 2 of them. The other one held me down here on my chest, and the other one was sitting on my knees. I don't know where they got the bottle from. They broke the bottle next to me. They shred my running tights. And then they removed them with all my underwears. They ripped them apart. And then the other one was here on my head. He tried to stick his private part inside my mouth. Yeah, and while the other guy was busy. It was a Friday. The road, Vetkopen Road, was very busy. The cars were going up and down, but there is a ditch there and then they started beating me up.
Are they saying anything to you at this point?
At this point, they are saying, open the legs, vula, 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 unenkani, just open wide. And the one that's sitting on my, with his knees, and my head is between his legs, and he's trying hard to stick his private parts inside my mouth. And then I don't know what happened. I managed to kick this other guy on his private part, and then he left me. And then he told the other one, "Come, let's go, let's go, let's go." and that time my bottom part was naked. Douglas State Police Station is just not even a kilometer from where this incident took place. I ran to Douglas Police Station half naked. My bottom was not dressed.
I'm going to come back to you just to give you a moment to compose yourself, because I know there's also a story as well with the police station itself and what then subsequently happened. And I'll bring in Roxy to this conversation. Roxy, it's very difficult to hear what Enhle is telling us today. And I think for the viewers tonight, this is what we're trying to paint. When women are out there and they say, stop killing us, stop abusing us, stop taking advantage of us, stop being violent, it's really at the heart of what women are asking for, because we listen to stories like these. Share with us some of what you've heard, because you deal with women who've gone through such ordeals.
Good evening, ladies. My friend, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We really do feel for you. During the summit, over the last 2 days, we've heard stories, we've heard incidents. It breaks my heart to have to listen to your story, sorry. Every time I get emotional, because we are women, and at the end of the day, this shouldn't be happening. And what we've realized through the summit that we went through the last 2 days is that there's always blame. There's blame on somebody. We're always trying to look for somebody to blame, and that's not the problem. The problem now is that we need to rectify what is going on. We need to start at the ground. We need to start right at the bottom, re-educating, reinstilling, because this should not happen. You are so brave for coming on this evening.
Yeah.
And I take my hat off to you for the public to see, but we need to start speaking out. Yes, we are all talking about awareness. Every single day, people want to create awareness, but awareness isn't enough anymore. And now we need to start acting.
And Roxy, one of the things that is quite clear as you listen to Enhle, and it's not a story that is in isolation with hers. You hear how women say, I can still smell them because they were so close to me, and the violation is so brutal that it stays with them for a very long time.
That's the problem. And the thing is, this is trauma. We look at so many places, we've got shelters, and the thing is, we've got a lack of everything. We have a lack of shelters, we have a lack of support, we have a lack of even the SAPS, we have a lack of education when it comes to this industry, when it comes to this realm, sorry. And like you say now, the trauma goes on for years and years and years and years. And everybody's quick to say, put them in a shelter, get them support, but also we need to get perpetrators. We need to eventually start rehabilitating the perpetrators, because these people are citizens of South Africa. We need to be able to integrate them back into our societies. But we are so angry right now because, I listen to the story and my blood curdles and my heart absolutely shatters, because nobody should be going through this, like I said.
And Enhle, you talk to us about the police station. We've heard from some of the survivors. I remember Ngubeni in 2018 at the first gender summit talking about how when she got to the police station, already she felt helpless because her perpetrators told her that nothing is going to happen to us. We don't care what you do after this. Give us a sense of what then happens to you when you get inside that police station. Do you get help? Do they rep you? Do they offer you support? What happened?
When I got to Douglas Dale Subs, there was one female police. She was busy opening a case for some gentleman there. I was obviously crying from the gate. No one was there to attend me. I sat on those cold benches of the police station up until the gentleman said, aren't you gonna attend to the lady? Because I was bruised here, I was bleeding, and I was half naked. Like my tight were 30, were like shredded. And she stopped and she says, I will see what happened. And then at that moment, I broke down and I literally cried. And then only then she said, no, come around. And then she called another gentleman to come and help me. The guy who was opening the case said, but this is a female issue. Why aren't you listening to her? And then, let me rather be helped by this gentleman. Then you helped her. And then she went and got water for me. And then I sat there, shivering, not knowing what to do. Then I requested if can she call my husband? Can I give you the number so that they can call my husband? She said, no, she doesn't have a pin to open the phone. I must wait for, I think, the shift supervisor. And then the guy came, they opened the phone, and then they called my husband. When my husband got there, then she started asking me what happened, and then I explained to her. And then she says to me, okay, fine, go to Olivedale Clinic, because it's nearer. And then I went to Olivedale Clinic. When I got to Olivedale Clinic, they told me that, no, I can't come here alone. I need to come with the person, the officer who opened the case, the officer who saw me.
So now you must then
go back to Douglasdale Subs. And when I got there, the lady has just stepped up to Pick and Pay to get food, because it was in the afternoon, it was a night shift. So I had to wait for her. She came back, and then we drove to Olivedale Clinic. Then that's when they started taking the swabs and all those things.
And before we run out of time, and I want to go back to Roxy, let's fast forward then. The swabs are taken, you are waiting, there's a DNA backlog.
Yes.
And you get a call later.
Yes.
And that call traumatizes you once again.
Okay, I was told that in order to positively convict a person, I think the DNA must be 90% and above. I don't know, it was the first time I heard of that. But then they called me, oh, okay. And the guy, they took off my wedding ring. And then I did my own investigation. I found my wedding ring at the one of the pawn stores. And then I told the investigating officer that this is my ring, because it has got special engraving inside. The cops went there, but the guy refused to give them the ring. He says, no, this is the ring that he bought from whoever. He's in a business of making money. He's not going to give away my ring. Okay, fast forward. Then they called me and they told me that they've closed my case because the DNA backlog is too long. They can't keep it open. Should they find something, they'll call me and tell me that now they've found something, they can carry on investigating. I've been to do the identity kit in Krugersdorp, and that was it. It's now on ice.
Roxy, you know, this is the reality of the DNA backlog. This is really at the heart of it, and that's why there aren't as many convictions as many women would like to see.
You see, what happened was, something that came up at the summit was, ladies were very vocal, so were gentlemen, regarding COVID. When COVID hit, it was a pandemic. But then second was gender-based violence. Because remember, there was a 500% increase over that time period, because people were constrained and confined, homes and so forth. And labs were running at a drastic pace trying to get tests out. And the point was made that how can information spread so quickly, and we're trying to control a pandemic such as COVID, but why can we not fix gender-based violence? And it is a pandemic. So we have spoken, I mean, there was 1.6 billion obviously allocated for gender-based violence, and we've realized that it isn't enough. Because one, this is what we're talking about today, is that more budget needs to be made available to our justice system, as well as to our labs, as well as to people that are trying to combat this. And one of the most important things that we've also realized is that South Africa is massive. The government can get involved to a point, but NPOs need to be supported. NPOs such as ours, such as Jason's Angels, Tears for Fears, as well as #Enough, because these people are on the ground. We are seeing what happens on a daily basis. We are reporting these things. Like we were looking at stats. Our stats are completely wrong. And that's what the SAPS can give us. And part of our NSP, we want to sort this out. This is a major, major, major problem. So it needs to start on the ground, like I said to you before. We need to start educating children from a young age in schools. Mutual respect, respect ladies, still pull out a chair, still respect a man. That's where it needs to start, is right on the ground. But we need to start rehabilitating perpetrators. Somebody that gets a sexual offense against them goes onto the list for 5 years. They don't care. You go onto the list as a sexual offender. That is it. You don't get, obviously some of them get convicted, but it's 3 years. So it's really not a problem for them. When you look at assault, it gets looked at completely on a different level, tests get done and so forth. So this is where we have a shortage of funds at the end of the day. And that is how we are going to try and combat it. So as well, I mean, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, all of us, we are trying to sort this out. And from this summit that we had over the last 2 days, amazing things have happened. And I've got so much faith that we are going to rectify this and we are going to fix situations like this, not just rehabilitating the situation, but also being there for ladies that are victims, that have fallen victim to this.
And I wonder then, very briefly, before I give Enhle a time to wrap up, do we then maybe link her up with you as well to be able to get that kind of support? Because her pain is still very, very, very much palpable.
Enhle, I would like you to hook up, they'll give you my details and get into contact with me. We definitely have the people and we definitely have the infrastructure to help you and to definitely, you know what's happened to you, and my sincerest apologies. It makes me very emotional. I have daughters of my own, so this does break my heart. And we will do the necessary to get you the necessary help, but I'm sure you'd like to get involved with something like this now because you've seen and you've come from something like this. My heart goes out to you, and my sincerest apologies. From my side, but yes, we would like to absolutely help you.
And how did this change your life? Because I'm sure it has. You say you were a runner. Do you still do it? And does a noise bug you when you are in the house? How did it change your life?
It has changed my life completely because I'm very paranoid now. I've got a teenager, a 16-year-old daughter. And my son is 22. But then what happened to me makes me look at my daughter and be like, who is next? Is she going to be the next person? But now what happens is with SABC, it's like their hands are tied as well, because I don't know whether they try to get the perpetrator and then whoever must investigate, they can't pin them down. The DNA backlog. So at the end of the day, even SABC, I find that they also don't know what to do because they catch a perpetrator. Now there's a backlog DNA. They can't overrule the DNA people because they'll end up incorrectly convicting people. So it's painful. It has changed my life in such a way that I'm such an academia. And I had to stall my studies, I had to stall my life, I had to stall so much. And I'm always on my blind spot because I don't trust. I was never a gym person, but now I find myself at gym because I can't be on the road because I'm scared. I am literally scared. I lock every door in the house and I double check and I triple check because I fear. I'm feeling. And you know, as we wrap up this conversation, ladies, we're out of time. I'd like to thank you both for your time. Roxy, thank you. And I'm very sorry for what happened to you. I'm very, very sorry. And I just want to commend your bravery tonight to come in and to share your story with the viewers so that we also understand that this is a reality. It's not something that, you know, it's statistics that are just spoken, it's summits and all of that, but ultimately it's lives of people that are impacted. So thank you so much for agreeing to come in, and we will get you in touch with Roxy. Do appreciate your time. The amount of gaslighting we're getting from our president and the whole entire value chain of violence against women and children, it's appalling. It's so bad. Everything is taken care of. Everything is jumped upon. We've been having family meetings about COVID, but the things that are like at the bottom, at the core of our society, they are not attended to. The pain is very deep.
I'm going to ask you a difficult question as we wrap up. What do you say to those who violated you?
Oh, I've got no words to say to them. I don't know. I just want to see them and ask them what went through their mind. Were they intending to do it, or I just happened to be there? Were they going around looking at women that this one is our victim today? Is it what they do on their daily basis? I don't think I've got anything to say. Oh, it's just, the pain is just too deep.
Yeah. And yeah, like we said, thank you. Thank you for coming in. I know it was a very difficult one. Thank you. Roxy, thank you to you. That was GBV survivor Enhle Ngubeni and GBV activist, as well as Mrs. SA First Princess for 2022, Roxy Van Bruwaene. Thank you so much to you both, and of course giving them a moment to just compose themselves.